These are the top 3 bourbons on my bucket list right now. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Hutch. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey through the world of whiskey. So the other night I was hanging out with a couple of buddies, drinking some bourbon, as you do, and we got to talking, and one of them asked me, what's on your bourbon bucket list right now? And I kind of wanted to focus on and really hone in on, like, what's at the very top of my list? What are the next bottles, the ones that are on my mind to like make sure I get one, really dedicate some time and effort and attention to, and hopefully add to the collection. Ones that I feel like would also just take my collection to the next level and that I feel like would fit my profile and really wow me. So took a little minute to think through that question and answer it, and then wanted to make this video and then also encourage you guys to respond in the comments and kind of put down your own list. Like, what are the top 3 bottles, if you really had to narrow it down, that you would like to add to your collection? And this is a dreaming list. This is shoot big, dream big. If you could have anything, what would the top 3 bottles be? So for me, let's break it down. First and foremost, I would love to have a bottle of Michter's 10 bourbon. So Michter's 10 rye might just be the best bottle that I own. I have a bottle from 2023, recently just got a backup bottle of that, so super ecstatic. But I've heard amazing things about the bourbon as well. Michter's as a whole brand has been growing on me and just impressing the heck out of me lately. And so I'm starting to feel the pull big time toward getting a Michter's 10 bourbon, if possible. Very difficult to find, definitely a more expensive bottle, around $200. But given the experience I've had with the rye, given the way Michter's has been continually impressing me with the releases that I have been able to get my hands on, really want myself a Michter's 10, and I think it would just be an awesome 1-2 punch to have that with the rye and the bourbon together. So that's right there at the top of the list, the one that I would love to get my hands on, and I think is relatively achievable at some point, hopefully in the near future. Okay, next bottle for me is Russell's 13, or now that it's been released, I will throw in Russell's 15. So I'm a big fan of Wild Turkey, really like the Russell's single barrel experience. I've had at least 2 bottles of that and enjoyed the heck out of both of them. Can only imagine what it's like at 13 years old. I do also have the Discovery Series 11 from Bardstown, which reportedly has 13-year-old Wild Turkey whiskey in it, and I love that bottle. So I can only imagine how good the Russell's 13 might be, especially at that higher proof. Russell's 15, of course, is getting an insane amount of hype this year. People are going crazy for it. If I could somehow get my hands on that bottle, I'd be ecstatic. But mostly it's about getting that really well-aged product from Wild Turkey, and I really do like the Russell's kind of line, so would love to taste something at that age, good proof, and of course these are hyped up bottles, but I'm willing to spend MSRP for sure to get one of those. And they're quite expensive, but I'm definitely willing to pay the money to get it. So I just really would hope to add one of those to my collection soon, and I think it would just be one of those bottles I would truly cherish. All right, so my third bottle on the list, definitely dreaming the biggest here. I've seen this out in the wild a couple times, but it's always been way too marked up at ridiculous prices. But if I could add one for a reasonable price to my collection, it would be amazing, and that is George T. Stagg. Of course, it's a BTAC bottle. Everybody wants BTAC. It's a dream for pretty much anybody who's into bourbon to get one of those. Why George T. Stagg in particular? Well, I did have the opportunity to taste a George T. Stagg. I think it was the 2023 release at a bourbon event that I went to. And it was amazing. I mean, I got chills drinking it. Like, it just washes over you with a wave of flavor, and if I could have a bottle like that, it would be spectacular. So I don't even have a regular Stagg or Stagg Junior, as it used to be known, in my collection. Seen that a couple times, but way too marked up. Buffalo Trace is obviously pretty hard to find, so we're dreaming big here. But if I could add one George T. Stagg bottle to my collection at some point in the future, doesn't even have to be that soon, but just in my whiskey journey at some point, that would be spectacular. And I think it would take my collection to a whole new level, and also just be one that I would be so excited to sip on and share with the people who appreciate bourbon in my life. So those are my 3 bottles, everybody. The Michter's 10 Bourbon, a Russell's 13 or 15, and a George T. Stagg. I'm dreaming big today and thinking about what whiskeys are at the very tippy top of my bucket list. What would I love to grab, and what would I just be over the moon to have in my collection? Again, would love to start a discussion today about what's on your bucket list. What's at the very top of your bucket list? If you had to narrow it down, what are the 3 bottles you want the most, and hopefully you would enjoy and share with others? Thanks everybody for sticking around to the end of the video. If you have, please consider hitting the like button on this video. That's what gets it out to the most people. And then if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel and joining us for the rest of 2024 and beyond. Hoping to make a lot more great content for you guys. I think that's going to wrap it up, everybody. Hopefully you'll continue to dream big as well. Till I see you guys again for another video, all I can say is keep drinking good whiskey and cheers.